Hey nurse babes, it's your girl Mrs. Charnel D, and I'm back with another video. So today I'm going to be talking about my journey of why I chose LPN over RN. Well, as you guys notice, I have so many different lifestyle videos on here, but I'm going to focus on the nursing aspect of things because that is a big part of my life. And I just want to basically break down a lot of things that I've learned basically about being a nurse. So if that interests you, definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, and then just tune into this video because it's going to be real informative. Okay, so starting off, first reason why I chose LPN over RN, cheaper. So when I first started out, I became a nurse, I think 3 years ago now, almost. And yeah, a little over three or almost 4 years ago. And basically when I started out, my mother's an LPN. I have an aunt that's a nurse, or a doctor of nursing practice. And then I have like a lot of RN cousins. But when I started out, I wanted something that I could get into that was less costly, something that I could kind of get in and out, get it done, you know. So the cost was a big thing at first too, because I knew it would cost more to basically go for my RN at the time. So that's number one, just the cost. The cost difference, I think, if I was basically, think of it as if I do, I think my LPN program was what, maybe like 10 grand, I think, something like that. Versus if I did the RN, it was going to be double that. Now, granted, some people may say, oh, well, you make more money in the end, or it makes more sense because you make more money than RN, which can be true, but that's not always the case for everybody, because some people, if you don't know how to play the game and you don't know how to like fight for yourself or advocate for yourself, it's a lot of jobs that'll pay you next to nothing. And some people are out here, it's some RNs out here making less money than LPNs. So remember that too. Always advocate for yourself regardless of where you're at and what type of nurse you are, because at the end of the day, yes, the higher the credentials, usually you could kind of fight for more, or fight for like a higher pay. But like I said, some RNs don't even advocate for themselves, so they're out here making what some LPNs is making. This is very true because I have seen it a lot. Okay, so cheaper. Second was, it was a quicker route for me personally. At the time, so when I first initially started, I didn't finish when I first started LPN school. Just distracted, all that good stuff. But then the second time around, I ended up finishing, but it was quicker for me personally. So not only was it quicker, I was in a program that I felt like it was structured well. So I think I went to school like 3 or 4 days a week, and it basically allowed me more freedom to still have time to study, focus on, like my daughter and stuff at the time, and work a little bit, stuff like that. So that was another thing for me. It was quicker, but it was more convenient as well. So the convenience of the program, the way it was structured, was definitely a win-win for me, because it still allowed me to kind of have a life outside of school. Make money faster. So sometimes that's just like, even in like doctorate programs, some people, like if they're in a program that takes longer, sometimes it takes them longer to be able to get out in the field and make the money. So that was another thing I was thinking of. I'm like, okay, well, I want to basically be able to get working faster. So if you are considering going for your LPN, yes, that is a plus, where you will be able to get into the get out faster. But so some programs too, always look up the benefits of each program, because some programs, they have a structure. If you're in an LPN program, they'll allow you to sit for like a STNA or whatever, something like that, to basically start making money in the field while you're finishing school. Some programs have it to where you can sit for your LPN if you aren't already an LPN before you get your RN, so you can start making money. So look into that as well. If you are in the RN program and you're like, I just want to make some money, so let me sit for this. Well, and it's not even just about making the money, getting the experience in. Because when they say that you literally, like, the book part is important, but once you get in the field, you understand what it is to be a nurse. The book part is only like a little part of it. It's important, but when you're in the field, you really see what it is and you learn, you know, on your feet. So, like I said, make money faster. That was another reason, because I just felt like I was just gonna make the money faster and get in my field faster than having to sit and wait years for my RN. Because I had a friend that, now it did take her longer than me. I think I became but I think I only finished like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ahead of her. So by the time I was LPN, she was or no, I think we actually finished at the same time. But see, the reason too was because, like I said, I stopped my LPN program for a while, but she ended up becoming an RN at the same time. So there's that too. Like, sometimes you do have to sit out the time and be like, okay, whatever, it's just time, because it's gonna pass anyway. So sometimes it is best for some people to say, no, I'm gonna just take the time and do you know, my RN or my LPN. So consider that too. Like I said, if you have kids and things like that, it's definitely gonna be important probably to you to get out in the field faster if you have other responsibilities. So at the time, that was my thought too. Like, you know, have a young daughter, things like that. And I'm like, okay, it's just time to get out in this field faster versus just bull crapping and waiting it out. So yeah, so consider that too. Like I said, if you have responsibilities, and if you're also, I was living on my own, so it may be different for someone who's at home, who's who's in the RN program, who has the time to kind of just focus on school. So consider that as well. A little less responsibility. So, so yes, there is, as an LPN, there is going to be a little less responsibility, because LPNs, depending on what state you're in, cannot do the initial of anything. But unfortunately for LPNs, we still find ourselves doing a lot of stuff that the RNs do. It's just one of them things where the higher your credentials, I don't want to say the less you have to do sometimes, but you're responsible for more, but sometimes you don't have to do as much. So, for example, if an RN does the initial, the LPN could do the rest. So I think that's something to think about too, you know, what type of responsibility you want. And, you know, because that's just a complicated part, because like I said, it depends on what state you're in too. So yeah, but it's a little less responsibility. Like I said, RNs are usually responsible for the initial part of things. But for example, like now I make care plans because I work from home as LPN. So doing care plans, I can't do the initial care plan, but I could revise and do the care plan and see fit when I'm talking to like a patient or something. So it just depends on what's important to you. Also, another reason I chose LPN, which came down later down the line. So a lot of people, they'll tell you, oh, LPNs can't work in hospitals, LPNs can't do this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I guess, like I keep saying, you have to advocate for yourself, because that depends. Because when I first started out as an LPN, like I said, it was like 3.5, maybe almost 4 years ago. I can't keep up with the times. But my first LPN job, I was making $30 an hour. So, and I think it was a PRN job. So I got shift diff. So it was like 32 something because I worked night shift. And it was actually flexible for me, because another thing about working PRN, they'll offer you a lot of hours a lot of times because they need people. So it just depends on what type of work you do. Some people thrive and they want to work in the hospitals. Some people don't. So it just depends on what you want to do as a nurse in general. So So don't let nobody tell you, oh, well, basically LPNs don't have any opportunities, they're limited. In some cases, yes. But if you research and you actually, like I said, advocate for yourself, and you have to go into these interviews like you are somebody. You can't sit there and act like a little sad puppy and scared, because, I mean, unfortunately, nursing can be a dog-eat-dog world. You will find nurses that, you know, are like happy for you and want you to learn and things like that. Some people don't. So, research opportunities, even if you're in school, research opportunities. So that way, when you're ready to get out and graduate, you kind of have a plethora of opportunities. Now, do I suggest going straight into the field? Yes. I don't suggest trying to do nothing super crazy starting off, because you kind of just want to get your feet wet and learn the ins and outs of things. But even 6 months in, by the time you do that, there's so many opportunities out here. There's basically like care management, basically like what I do. There's what else is it? There's a hospital, there's the nursing home, there's the the assisted livings, there's hospice, it's so many opportunities out here. Not even just that, there's LPNs and RNs that are starting their own businesses too. So there's so many opportunities out here. Don't let nobody tell you that you're limited, because you're not. You're only limited as far as you limit yourself. And if you want to go back to school, great. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's an awesome thing to continue to advance in your career field. But if you decide to stay at LPN, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. There's LPNs out here making great money. There's contract jobs for LPNs through like HEDIS and stuff like that. So there's just so much stuff out here. And my last thing was the good pay starting out. Like I said, when I became an LPN, I was making $30 an hour. And this is before it was even a thing for like back then, you know, $30 was a pretty penny. And even to some people today, it still is, you know. So it just depends on you, you know, and how you see fit with, you know, your finances and, you know, your situation, living circumstances. But like I said, starting out was making great money. Pick up as many shifts as I wanted to. I love that, because they'll work you. If you let them, they will work you to the bone if you choose. So that's one thing I enjoyed about being PRN as well. It gave me kind of like options to kind of try it, because I think I ended up starting out with 2 jobs in 2 different facilities. And, you know, it gave me that experience that I needed. So then eventually I did assisted living, stuff like that. No, I didn't work in a hospital. When I was in RN school at once upon a time, I did do clinicals in a hospital. But to be honest with you, I never really desired to work in a hospital. So if that's for you, great. But if it's not, So think about that too. Like, it's about what you desire for yourself, because I'm one of the people, I didn't desire that. But some people do desire to work in hospitals as well. So, but yes, good pay starting out. Like I said, you'll make a pretty penny starting out, especially now these days, because they're less likely to lowball you. I've definitely seen some nice paying jobs starting out for LPNs as well. So just don't let nobody limit you or make you feel like you can't do this or that. Just don't listen to nobody. Just listen to what your gut is saying and what you feel you want to do for yourself. Do I eventually plan to go back for my RN? Yes, because I pretty much already got the bulk everything out of the way. So that is the reason that I'm not gonna say that's the only reason I may go back one of these days, but that's honestly a big reason, because I'm already kind of finished most of it. So that's a big reason. But am I in a rush to finish? No, because I have other things going on, you know. I have other streams of income and things like that. So it just all depends on you. But we're gonna end this video because it's about 15 minutes long now. But if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys have any questions, please drop them below. I'm definitely interested in, you know, hearing from you guys and what you guys have to say. You know, this is basically your platform. I'm here to help you guys and, you know, just, you know, give you guys as much information as I can. If you guys have any video suggestions, just drop those below as well. But that's all I have for you guys right now. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Suggest the channel to, you know, another nursing friend or someone finishing nursing school. But that's all I have for you guys. Bye, nurse babes. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.